All right, I'm buckled in. I'm ready to go. Thank you so much for everybody who's already up in the chat doing the darn thing here so far this morning. If this is your first time here, my name's CJ. Good morning to you, or good afternoon, or good evening, whenever you're watching this. Let's just make it a good day, shall we? I think last night was a pretty good night for most people. I saw a lot of winning entries. I got a lot of comments, a lot of feedback from people out there who won money out there on PrizePicks or, on your various different sports betting sites, wherever you end up playing. But I think overall we hit on a lot of good plays. If you won some money last night, leave a $ in the live chat. And if you didn't, well, tell me who let you down. Who was the bum? Who was the guy who sold you out last night? I want to know their name. I'm going to go visit them personally on your behalf. Just kidding. But anyway, yeah, I think overall last night went pretty well. A lot of what we expected to happen happened. A lot of the guys that we talked about in the chat did what they were supposed to do. So I hope that most of you out there made some money. That is always the goal, obviously. If you didn't, well, new day, new dollars. Let's go ahead and try and get it done tonight. So appreciate all you guys subscribing, by the way. We reached over 2,100 subscribers. It feels like just yesterday I was at like 1,700 or 1,500 subscribers, and now we're like to the moon. We're at 2,100 subscribers as more and more of you start to fill into the chat. Thank you guys so much for joining me this morning. I think we hit an all-time high for these live streams in terms of likes. You guys absolutely crushed it. We set a new record. So I appreciate all your support. I appreciate everything you guys are doing for me and helping me grow. And I'm going to keep doing this for you guys. Every single morning we're going to be in here and we're going to be talking your favorite player props. I see Anthony won some money. Shout out to Anthony. Alan winning some money. Shout out to Alan. Thank you guys for dropping them $. I'm glad to see that somebody out there won some dollars. I actually took advantage of the PrizePicks promo. It was a 3-pick power play that had to contain Luka, Steph, and KD. That ended up working out for me. I tried a lot of different variations. I almost hit on 2 different ones, but I ended up landing on one that worked out. It was Steph Curry over rebounds. It was Luka Doncic under assists and Kevin Durant under rebounds. So that ended up being a 10-time payout on yesterday's promo for that 3-pick power play. So good morning, Logan. Thank you for joining the live stream. I'm going to let a few more people kind of pile in here before we start digging in too deep. But as you know by now, Props.cash is our research site of choice. It's really changed the way that everybody does player prop research. So if you're into taking these overs and these unders on these single stat player props, things like points, rebounds, assists, you name it. They do a little bit of everything over on Props.cash. You should definitely check it out. There's a link down in the description below. You can use that to sign up. It's $19.99 a month, and that gets you access to all the sports. Or if you just want NBA, a season pass, $99.99. Or you could do all the sports annually for $199. So a lot of different ways that you can sign up for Props.cash. So definitely check it out. Use the link down in the description below. If you like what we do on these videos, you can dig in even deeper through Props.cash. So let's go ahead and get that fired up. I got 2 different Props.cash tabs open. And then we'll take a look at the slate today. It's kind of a small one, so we shouldn't be on stream for too long for you guys watching the replay out there. I know these can typically run for an hour to an hour and a half. I try to get through them as quickly as possible. But, we got a lot of friendly faces here, a lot of people in the chat that have questions. So I try to get to all the questions that I can and help you guys win more money. That's what this is all about. This is my mission, to get on here and to be helpful to people, bring people together, unite people around daily fantasy sports betting, and stuff like that. So I just want to get on here, have a good time, and win some extra money for you guys. So we got the Philadelphia 76ers at the Detroit Pistons. Game tips off 7 p.m. tonight on the East Coast. That's where I'm at. For Philadelphia, Danny Green looks like he is a game time decision. We've got Riller, Tobias Harris, and Ben Simmons all ruled out for Philadelphia. Not seeing any injuries for Detroit. 7:30 p.m. Next game is the Utah Jazz at the Atlanta Hawks. We've got Oni, Donovan Mitchell, Royce O'Neal, all game time decisions. Donovan Mitchell would be a huge one. If he happens to sit out for the Utah Jazz, then that shakes things up quite a bit. For Atlanta, we've got Kevin Herter as a game time decision, and Okongwu continues to be out for Atlanta. The next game is a marquee matchup between the Boston Celtics at the Miami Heat. Game tips off at 7:30 p.m. The only injury news worth noting is Victor Oladipo for Miami. He continues to sit out, but I've heard rumblings that maybe he's coming closer to making his return back to this Miami Heat lineup. And then 10 p.m., we've got the Houston Rockets at the Phoenix Suns. This game's probably going to be a blowout, guys, so be careful taking any overs from this one. For the Houston side, Kevin Porter and Daniel Tice are both game time decisions. For Phoenix, we got DeAndre Ayton, Cameron Payne, both GTDs, and Dario Saric has already been ruled out. And then finally, the last game of the night, another one that will most likely end up as a blowout. We got the 1-6 Oklahoma City Thunder at the 5-3 Los Angeles Lakers at 10:30 p.m. Lou Dort, game time decision for OKC. For the Lakers, we got game time decisions for Mason, LeBron James, Kendrick Nunn, Dwight Howard, and then Trevor Ariza and Taylor Horton Tucker already ruled out for this one. So don't have to worry about those guys. So now we are looking at props.cash. We're going to start talking about these different player props. Welcome to the chat. If you're just getting in here, over 53 viewers have decided to join us this morning. Thank you guys so much. It's humbling to have your support. It's humbling to have you guys in here. Of course, let's run them likes up like we've been doing. We've been going for 100 or more likes in our last couple streams. If all 53 of you hit the thumbs up on this thing, then we're already halfway to goal. So do your part. You know, I'm doing my part. I'm sharing info and time and, you know, we're making it happen. This is a symbiotic relationship between you and I. And if you want to say thanks, there's a number of ways you could do that. The biggest one is by subscribing. There's about half of you out there who watch these live streams that haven't subscribed yet. Let's make that happen. Can I get you to be a subscriber? Can I get you to turn them notifications on so you don't miss these live streams? Also, can I get you to leave a thumbs up? Now, if you want to go beyond those things, other ways that you can support, there is a way for you to leave super stickers and super chats in this live stream. So you could support the stream, support me as a content creator. If you want to donate, there's ways to do that through super chat and super stickers. You could also go over to Twitter. I've got a tip jar open on Twitter. You can go drop a few bucks in there if I helped you out in any way. Or the biggest way, join the Patreon community. There's a group of us in there. We're all talking daily fantasy sports, prop picks, stuff like that. And it's $20 a month. It goes a long way in supporting me as a content creator. I give back as much as humanly possible through Patreon with daily posts, everything from spreadsheets to write-ups. I try to do a little bit of everything and give back to you guys. But those are the ways you can support me and thank me beyond just your normal, you know, thumbs up or subscribing or sharing this video and things like that. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Now let's look at some of these player prop trends over on props.cash. So the very top of the list here for the points player props is Mikal Bridges of the Phoenix Suns, 13.5 points. At 13.5 points, he's got an 83% hit rate. 83% is very good, meaning he's going over 13.5 points in most games. So we're looking at PrizePicks today. If you guys have never seen this before, maybe you play your player props over on a different site, prizepicks.com. If you use promo code Curry, you get a 100% instant deposit match on your first deposit all the way up to $100. That's a dollar for dollar price match. I'll leave a link down in the description. You could go sign up and use that promo code and get double dollars today. So let's look at this prop here from Mikal Bridges. Phoenix Suns obviously in a potentially a blowout game here against the Houston Rockets, but Mikal Bridges at 13.5 points has been getting it done here with pretty good success in his last 5 games. You can see he's 4 for 5, 80% cover rate in terms of going over 13.5 points. So we like that. We like a high hit rate of 80%. And then against Houston last year, 3 games, he went over in just 1 out of 3, but, you know, kind of a whole different animal last season as last season. Currently, he's a minus 112 to go over 13.5, averaging 16.4 points per game in his last 5. So he's going over 13.5 by quite a bit, by a healthy margin. If we go down and look at the matchups here against the Houston defense, they're not very tough to score against. They rank 23rd overall, so this is a soft matchup, a plus matchup for Mikal Bridges. In terms of field goals allowed, they rank 19th. 3-pointers allowed, they rank 20th. And against small forwards, 22nd. So overall, a lot of green and yellow here, meaning this shouldn't be a tough one here. If Mikal Bridges gets the appropriate amount of minutes and shots up, then I think this is a good spot for us to look at going over. If we look at the numbers across the board here for his minutes, he's averaging 33.3 minutes per game, so a good healthy run. Field goal attempts kind of up and down, but somewhere around that 10 to 12 field goal attempt range. He's actually averaging about 11.2 field goal attempts in his last 5 games. So there you have it. Mikal Bridges going over 13.5 points could be a good look for you. Let's go ahead and pull up a projection. And for that, we're using numberfire.com, which is a free site. You guys can go out there and do little searches for projections on points, fantasy points, and whatever your favorite player prop is. 14.2 though, that's the number. So they like him to go over as well versus the Houston Rockets tonight. So I think the over on Mikal Bridges could be a solid play for you, a solid over play. So we talked about an over. Let's go back to the trends page and look for an under. We've got the likes of Chris Paul at 16.5 points at just a 16.7% hit rate. So that's very low hit rate. Let's go ahead and talk about him. While we're in Phoenix, we might as well talk about CP3. Now, PrizePicks has already adjusted this. Instead of running him up at 16.5, they got him at 15.5. So they're taking the low road here on Chris Paul, making things a little bit difficult for us if we are looking to take that under on his point prop. But nonetheless, we're going to dig into it a little closer because I took Chris Paul the other night at 16.5 points, took the under, and it ended up paying off for me. So let's look at the last 5 games here for CP3 and how those have shaped up. You could see that in his last 5 guys, just 1 for 5, a 20% cover rate. Not very good. The average during that span, 12.6 points per game. So not great here for CP3. In the 3 previous games, and this was back at last season, 13.7 points per game. So he even last year wasn't getting it done against Houston. So historically, just hasn't been a good scorer against the Houston Rockets. And this season, more of the same, not really scoring at a high clip. So we scroll down here to Houston. Well, I guess I should point out, we're looking at 16.5. Let's move it down to 15.5. Things do change a little bit. He did end up covering against Cleveland. So really, it's a 40% cover rate for Chris Paul instead of wherever he was at 16.5, a 20%. But still, 40%, 20%, it's under 50%. So he's going under more often than not. But anyway, against this Houston Rockets defense, they ranked 23rd overall. We talked about that. 19th in field goals allowed, 20th in three-pointers allowed, and 26th in point guard defense. So they're not very tough against opposing point guards, but Chris Paul's been more of a pass-first type of player so far this season, scoring less and dishing out more assists. So let's get you a projection on his points tonight. As we mentioned, taking on the Houston Rockets. They've got him at 15.1 points, guys. So in this case, closer to 15 than 16. So maybe the under is a good look here for CP3. The game logs seem to suggest that it's been difficult for him to hit 16 or more points in recent games. Thank you so much for everybody who's joined in the chat. Wow, we're up to almost 70 viewers already, 13 minutes into the live stream. Appreciate you guys joining. If you haven't liked the video yet, take a second, hit the thumbs up button. And if you won some money last night, drop a $sign down in the chat. But if you didn't, let me know who's the guy that sold. Who's the one that let you down? The one that you had high hopes in. One of the ones for me was probably Anthony Edwards at 5.5 rebounds. I think everybody liked that play, or at least I did. A lot of people liked it. Didn't end up working out. I think he might have left the game for a little while with an injury. Maybe he ended up coming back in, but not a good game for Anthony Edwards and those rebounds. So, all right, we talked about a couple of points props. Let's look at some rebounds. That's the next player prop up on PrizePicks. So we're going to go take a look at some of the rebounds out there, see who's been hitting at a high clip, who hasn't been. We're going to give you one over, one under. And it's our friend Tyler Herro at 4.5 rebounds, 85.7% cover rate, a minus 140 to go over. We've also got a number of other Miami Heat players. Duncan Robinson, 85.7% cover rate at 2.5 rebounds. Bam Adebayo, 10.5 rebounds, 83.3% cover rate. So let's talk about one of these Miami Heat guys. And I think I'm going to go with Bam, just because Bam is traditionally a rebounder. We don't think of Tyler Herro. We don't think of Duncan Robinson so much as a primary rebound for the Miami Heat. But Bam Adebayo playing that power forward slash center position for Miami. I think this is a good one to look at for an overplay. So let's go ahead and dig into it. He's got a tough matchup tonight against Boston. Of course, they've got the Time Lord Robert Williams out there, plus Al Horford, which was a very popular overplay last night for rebounds. Al Horford absolutely got it done for us. And for some reason, at 8.5 rebounds, people were taking the under on the sports books. The action was coming in on the under, and I couldn't understand it. I get it. Mo Bamba, Wendell Carter Jr., two big guys, but didn't quite understand why the money was coming in on the under on Al Horford's rebounds with that high hit rate. But nonetheless, if you took the over on Al Horford's rebounds, you probably made a little bit of money. So let's change this up from points to rebounds, and we'll take a look at Bam Adebayo's recent game logs. In his last 5, guys, 4 for 5, an 80% cover rate, hitting this prop at a pretty high clip, averaging 14 rebounds per game in his last 5. Now, some of that is juiced up because of this big 19 rebound performance against the Charlotte Hornets. Plus, he had a 16 rebound game against Indiana. So numbers are somewhat inflated, a little bit inflated. But even if we take this average of 14 rebounds per game down to 13 or 12, he's still going well over 10.5 boards. So really liking the way this one's shaping up in terms of his recent game logs and the averages. Now, if we look at the over-under here, -110, not really seeing any line movement here at 10.5 boards. We're going to go down and look at this matchup against Boston. Boston's defense, guys, their jerseys are green, and their defensive ratings are also green for Bam Adebayo in this matchup, meaning things are looking good here. This looks like a positive plus matchup for Bam across the board. In terms of rebounds allowed, the Boston Celtics rank dead last. They are giving up the most rebounds to opposing teams. So this is definitely a plus rebound matchup for Bam Adebayo. And if you paid attention last night, Wendell Carter Jr. and Mo Bamba both covered their rebound props. So that was against Boston. Maybe that's a sign of things to come for Bam tonight. You never know. They ranked 23rd in offensive rebounds allowed, 30th in defensive rebounds allowed, and just 23rd in power forward defense. So yeah, things are looking good here in terms of the matchup for Bam Adebayo. He's getting a healthy run of minutes, over 33 minutes per game, seeing as many minutes as 39.4, 35.7. So you kind of get an idea of maybe where that ceiling is for him in terms of how much playing time we can expect. So all in all, guys, high cover rate and a very good matchup here for Bam Adebayo and the rebounds. Again, I'm not trying to be a salesman. I'm not trying to tell you what to do or what to play. I'm just reporting the facts. And the facts are he's projected for 11.2 rebounds. That puts him over 10.5. So all signs are pointing up for Bam Adebayo. I think it's a potentially good way to go over here. What do you guys think? Let me know in the chat. Bam Adebayo over rebounds? Are we feeling it? Or are we fading it? I don't know. Up to you guys. So we talked about one good overplay. Let's go ahead and hit on an under. We got a number of different guys to choose from here. A lot of guys who just aren't getting it done on the glass. Kent Bazemore of the Los Angeles Lakers at 10.5 rebounds sits at just a 25% cover rate. Now currently, our friends over at PrizePicks don't have Kent Bazemore up. Maybe they put him in later on in the night. So if you end up getting Kent Bazemore up on the PrizePicks board at 2.5 boards at a 25% cover rate, I'd be saying click the under on that, just based on what I'm seeing here. Now we got Jimmy Butler at 6.5 rebounds, 28.6% cover rate. So we talked about one Miami player. Do we want to go back to the well with Miami? Let's do it. Let's do it. Jimmy Butler hasn't been getting it done here at 6.5 rebounds from the looks of things, but his game logs look pretty good. I guess overall, we got to look at the last 5 here and dig in a little bit closer here on props.cash. So let's look at Jimmy Buckets. So we're going to dial it in here. We got it, the last 5 games pulled up. I guess he's only covered in 2 out of the last 5. So just a 40% cover rate. Not very good. Now, if we look at the 10-game view overall, guys, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 unders and 2 overs on today's prop of 6.5 rebounds. So has not been covering very good. Against Brooklyn, though, had this monster 14 rebound game, this 10 rebound game. These games are probably more like outliers. If you look at the rest of his games, he's not coming anywhere close to 10 or 14 rebounds. So I would kind of throw these out and maybe look at the rest of these games here. Those are probably closer to the average for Jimmy Butler, 6, 5, around that range. So kind of interesting that he has that 14 and 10 in his recent game logs. But anyway, in his last 5, 7.6 rebounds per game, of course, being boosted, being pumped up heavily by those 2 monster rebound performance games. Now, he's a current minus 118 to go over 6.5 boards. So they are putting their money on the over, but I'd be careful here. Let's look at the Boston defense. We already talked about it with Bam Adebayo and his rebounds. It is green light go for a lot of these guys and the rebound matchups for Miami. So there you have it for Jimmy Butler. I'll get you a projection. Even though he hasn't been covering his rebound prop with great regularity, the matchup definitely works in his favor. And they've got him projected for 6.6 boards, putting him slightly, ever so slightly, over 6.5. So I think out of these 2 Miami Heat players and their rebound props, I'm probably liking the Bam Adebayo one a little bit more personally. What do you guys think? So there's an over, there's an under. Let's talk about some assists now on PrizePicks. We don't have a ton of players to choose from. Pretty limited board here, just 10 assist props up at the moment. But we can make do with what we do have. We'll go ahead and look at props.cash and get an idea at the trends for the different assist props. So if you're not on props.cash yet, link down in the description below. You can sign up there, $19.99 a month, man. It's going to save you a whole lot of time researching your player props. One site to rule them all. And if you don't play on PrizePicks yet, of course, prizepicks.com, promo code Curry to get you that 100% instant deposit match all the way up to $100. So let's look at some of these assist props. We got Tyler Herro at 3.5 assists with a nice 71.4% hit rate. We've got Jimmy Butler once again. His name's making another appearance here in the stream, 71.4%. A lot of different guys, a lot of different ways that we can go here. Kyle Lowry at 7.5 assists, 66.7% cover rate. We didn't talk Tyler Herro a whole lot in previous streams, so let's go ahead and talk about him now. He's at 4 assists currently on PrizePicks, meaning they've seen the action coming in at minus 144 at 3.5 assists, and they've went ahead and cranked this prop up to 4. So they've rounded it up, which may lead to a push. Fair warning, it may lead to a push, but that's okay because pushes don't lose you money. Yeah, you don't win quite as much, but you don't exactly lose money. So let's see if we got Tyler Herro here up on props.cash. We do. Now, at 3.5, if you're playing somewhere other than PrizePicks where you could get him at 3.5 assists, things are looking pretty good here. He's covered in 4 out of his last 5 games, an 80% cover rate. So that is not shabby whatsoever. Minus 144 to go over 3.5, as we mentioned before, 5.2 assists per game average. So he's going over 3.5, not just by like 1 assist, but like 2 assists in a lot of these games. You see he's got a big 9 assists output here against Orlando, 6 against Charlotte, 5 against Memphis, 4 against Dallas. So if we take this and we move it up to 4, which is where he's at on PrizePicks, things shift a little bit. This game against Dallas goes from green to gray, meaning he pushed or tied versus today's prop of 4 assists. Now, if we move down and look at this Boston defense, they are the 12th stingiest against the assist prop. So they're not giving up a ton of assists as a team. And then their shooting guard defense, for what it's worth, is ranked 29th, almost dead last in the entire league. So Boston, not a very tough defensive team through the early stages of this season. Get an idea of Tyler Herro's minutes, over 31 minutes per game so far this season. So kind of gives you an idea of which way to go here on Tyler Herro. I'd be taking the over based on what I'm seeing so far, but let's get a projection here for Tyler Herro just to kind of give you a better idea of where NumberFire thinks he'll land on his assist prop. He's at 3.3, putting him closer to 3 than 4, right? If it was over 3.5, let's say 3.6, then maybe we lean closer to the 4. But in this case, if you trust these projections, then you would probably want to go under on Tyler Herro. But this one could be a little tough one if you're getting him at 4 assists like you are here on PrizePicks. So we got that one covered. Let's go ahead and talk about an underplay here. And once again, the Miami Heat representation on these trends is staggering. It's outstanding. We've got Bam Adebayo at 2.5 assists, just a 16.7% cover rate. So Bam Adebayo, yeah, not covering 2.5 assists, but he's not up on the PrizePicks board. We won't talk about him. Jayshawn Tate also not up, but at 2.5 assists, just a 28.6% cover rate. One guy that we do have up, but has been moved down is SGA. Gilgeous-Alexander SGA is just so much easier to say. He's at 4 assists right now, so he's at 4.5 on most of your sports books out there, but PrizePicks has already rounded him down to 4 assists. He's currently a minus 140 to go under 4.5 assists. So if you can get him at 4.5 assists somewhere, you might want to take the under on this player prop. But let's go ahead and look at this one a little bit closer under a microscope. Thanks to props.cash, we can do that. Now, at 4.5 assists, he's covered in just 2 out of 5 games, right? That's a 40% cover rate, not a high success rate in covering 4.5 assists. But if we dial it down to 4 assists, things change just a little bit. Not a whole lot, but just a little bit. 8 assists, 4 here becomes a push rather than a cover. So that's a tie, which you don't make quite as much on PrizePicks if you tie at 4 assists. But then he's got another cover here of 5, 2 and 2 in his last couple of games. Overall, though, guys, 4.2 assists per game, slightly over this 4 number. And I already mentioned he's a minus 140 to go under. So let's move down and look at this matchup here for SGA. The Los Angeles Lakers defense, in terms of assists allowed, 28th. They are one of the most giving teams in all the league in terms of assists allowed. I don't like that if we're looking to go under on SGA. Kind of scares me a little bit. Kind of gives me the creeps. I don't know if I would take the under on this one. So be careful. Let's go ahead and look at the projections here for Gilgeous-Alexander. And they've got him projected for 5.3 assists, guys. 5.3 assists. They like the over as well. So although his hit rate isn't great, it looks like the over might be the way to go based on the projections, based on what we've seen in terms of the Los Angeles Lakers giving up a high amount of assists. Things could be shaping up here for a little bounce back for SGA. Just be careful with it. Be careful with that one. I don't like that one so much, especially not for an under. It's kind of risky. But we talked about some assist props. We're going to talk about some rebound props. Then we're going to get into the 3-point props. And then we're going to look at what chat has been dropping in here. Thank you so much to the 69 viewers who are in here right now. Thank you for making your presence known and joining me here this morning. I appreciate everybody who's up in the chat. What's up, William? William dropping some dollar signs. William made some money last night. Corey dropping some dollar signs. Made some money last night. Looks like Tyson won a little bit of money. Markel won some money. Shout out to you. Garrett making some money. But he says Cole Anthony almost messed me up. Cole Anthony definitely gave us a lot to worry about. So everybody who's won some money, drop that dollar sign in the chat. Let me know. Let me know if you guys won. If you didn't, who sold out? Who was the guy that kind of kept you from glory, kept you from cashing? It's always interesting to see what you guys are playing, who won you money, who lost you money. But let's go ahead and talk about some rebound props. Oh, we already talked rebounds. My bad. We're going to the 3-point ball. My bad. We talked rebounds already. We talked Bam Adebayo over, Jimmy Butler potentially under, liking the Bam prop a little bit more. So let's look at the 3-point makes. We don't have a lot to choose from here, guys. We got Kyle Lowry, who was a guy that early on we were taking unders on, and it was working out. But in the last 2 games, he seems to have found his shot finally. Against Memphis, dropped 4 threes. Against Dallas, he dropped 6. I don't know that I want to go back to Kyle Lowry and taking the unders on him. He's just a little too hot right now. We got Devin Booker up at 2, Mikal Bridges up at 1.5, and LeBron James at 2. Let's see if any of these guys are up here on the PrizePicks board. At 2.5 threes, LeBron's got a 50% cover rate. You know, he's one of the best players in the league, if not still the best player in the league. Let's dig in a little bit deeper on LeBron James. I know the hit rate's not very high on this one, but in that case, maybe we end up taking the under on him. Let's just dig in and find out. So at 2.5 3-point makes, currently he's 2 for 5, guys. 2 for 5 at covering, 40% cover rate. The last 3 games have not been kind to the king. Just 1, 0, and 2 in the last 3 games. So he had some big games here against Phoenix with 5, against Memphis with 4, but you know, not really loving it. Now let's move this down to where he's at on PrizePicks, from 2.5 down to 2, and things kind of take on a little bit of a different tone here. So at 2, you've got a push in here and you got 2 covers. So technically in the last 5 games, he's hit 2 or more threes and 3 out of 5. That changes the dynamic a little bit. Averaging 2.5 3-point makes in his last 5 games. He is currently at minus 158 to go under 2.53. So if we scroll down here, let's look at the matchup against OKC. In terms of 3-point field goal percentage allowed, 24th in 3-point field goal percentage allowed. So they're giving up a high 3-point field goal percentage. In terms of 3-pointers allowed overall, 29th. So this is a green matchup here for LeBron James in terms of hitting threes. So this is a plus matchup, in other words. In small forward defense, they do rank 17th, middle of the pack, not fading LeBron against this team, and definitely not looking to like target him against this team either. So it's kind of a middle of the road type of thing. In terms of minutes, 37.1 minutes per game in his last 5, getting plenty of run, even though he's getting up there in years. Now let's look at his 3-point attempts and makes, because this is what the prop is all about here. In his last 5 games, he's averaging 7.6 3-point takes, and then the makes, not very good. 5, 4. They started to fall off here in his last 3. 1, 0, and 2. So he goes 1 for 10, he goes 0 for 6, and he goes 2 for 4. So he's always been a streaky shooter. That's kind of always been the MO for LeBron James. So we're not really loving going over, but now that PrizePicks has rounded this off, I don't know how I feel about it, guys. That might be one that you just kind of stay away from and kind of see what happens. One other guy that we'll talk about who's up on the PrizePicks board is Mikal Bridges at 1.5 3-point makes. He's at 66.7% so far this season in covering this prop, and currently is a minus 138 betting favorite to go over 1.53. So let's talk about Mikal Bridges real quick. His game logs kind of all over the place at first glance, but we're going to dig in just a little bit deeper here on this short NBA slate. Thank you so much for everybody who's tuning in. Over 75 of you watching. Leave a like on this video if you haven't liked it yet. We've been crushing the likes. You guys set a new record yesterday, in case you're just jumping into the live stream. Well over 100 likes. We blew it away. Plus, we surpassed 2,100 subscribers, but there's still about 50% of you who's going to watch this live stream and haven't subscribed yet. So I don't know what I have to do to earn your sub, but please sub. Please think about subbing if you haven't yet. We're trying to get to that next goal, which would be 2,200. So I'm no longer CJ2K. I am 21 Savage until we reach 22. Then I don't know what I am. Maybe I'm just Deuce Deuce or something. You guys come up with a nickname for it. All right, so let's look at Mikal Bridges' 3-point field goals. They've got him at 2 right now on, he's at 1.5 rather over on PrizePicks and on Props.Cash. But if we dial it in here, you can see in his last 5 games, 3 for 5, just a 60% cover rate. I wish it was a little bit higher, but still not terrible, not the worst. He's got games where he's only hit 1 or none against Cleveland, but in other games, 2, 4, and 2. So when he does go over, most of the time he's just barely going over with 2 3-point makes, which would put him just high enough to go over 1.5. In his last 5, though, overall, 1.8 3-point makes in his last 5 games. And then against Houston, last season, he made 2 per game on average. If we scroll down here against Houston, you can see how their defense stacks up here against the 3-ball. 6th overall in 3-point field goal percentage allowed, so that's pretty good number. They're defending the 3 well, but they do allow a lot of 3s, so maybe they're playing teams that attempt a high amount of 3s versus them. 20th ranked in 3-pointers allowed, and their small forward defense 22nd. Not anything to worry about there. We got to go look at Mikal Bridges and his 3-point takes and makes, though. Overall, in the last 5 games, averaging about 4 3-point takes or attempts per game. 4, 5, 4, 2, and 4. So he's most of the time around that 4 to 5 range. So he's not a high volume guy. He's got to be ultra efficient with the 4 or 5 attempts that he'll have. And most of the time he is. 2 for 4 here, 4 for 5 here. Doesn't do so well here, just 1 for 4. But then he comes back against New Orleans here with a 2 for 4. So this is kind of one of those ones where you got to hope if he gets 4 or 5 shots, he makes at least 2 of them. He's got to be very efficient with the attempts that he gets. But overall, I think based on the matchup, based on the game logs and everything, I would probably lean toward the over. I don't know. What do you guys think, though? What do you guys think? Nothing's guaranteed, but that would just be kind of my hunch here. It looks like more props may have been added to the PrizePicks board, but let's go ahead and move it to chat. We've done what we do. It is now time to turn it over to you lovely people and take your request from the live chat. Appreciate you guys dropping everything in here. Let me know what your props are. What are you liking from today? It's a small slate, smaller NBA slate. Unfortunately, we don't have quite as many games, so I'm going back up to the top of the chat here and working my way down. So let's see what we got. Asin says, liking Mikal Bridges as a hidden gem against Houston tonight as well. Thoughts, assists, and rebounds. He's always helpful, but the scoring, maybe threes. Yeah, we talked about the threes for Mikal Bridges. Obviously, that could be a good way to go as long as he gets 4 to 5 attempts and he's efficient with those opportunities. That could be a good way to go. Asin says, know that I'm flooding the chat early, but early bird. Tyler Herro, 30 points, assists, rebounds, or just focus on his scoring. I think Tyler Herro's been getting it done across the board so far. We looked at a little bit of some of the other props on Tyler Herro. I don't know about the points. We can look at that real quick. Oh, wow. Yeah, I mean, he's been scoring very well in his last 3 games. So definitely over on the points would probably be my lean against this team. We talked about the rebounds, I think, a little bit for Tyler Herro. He's got a high hit rate in terms of rebounds. His last 5 games, 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 5. He's went over 4.5. So that's, 80%. So that's looking pretty good. And then you mentioned the assists. Yeah, his assists are already moved up here on PrizePicks from 3.5 up to 4. So, yeah, he's been getting it done across the board. I think points, assists, and rebounds over on Tyler Herro makes a lot of sense here. I think you're onto something. Anthony Edwards, Ben says, Anthony Edwards was the only guy that let him down. Those 3 rebounds hurt his soul. Yeah, it hurt a lot of people's soul. That was the one that got me too, Ben, unfortunately. Thinking Gobert and Horford over rebounds, but the books don't have them out yet. Thinking Horford's number may be close to 9.5. They have to, right? They have to bump Al Horford up. He's been at like 8.5 rebounds for a few days, few games in a row now. And the dude is hitting at like 10, 11, 12 rebounds per game. I mean, if they don't bump Al Horford's rebounds up, I don't know what they're smoking. But yeah, I agree. I think Al Horford, we're going to start seeing that number climb, maybe even as soon as today. Asin says, sorry, but I think I found another gem, y'all. CP3 steals against Houston. Well, they don't have steals up on PrizePicks. Unfortunately, that's not a player prop that they offer, but I could take a quick look at it for you on Chris Paul, and we can see how Chris Paul's been doing on his steals. In his last 5, it looks like he's averaging about 2 steals per game. So if you could get him at like 1.5 steals somewhere, then yeah, you might want to take the over there. Things are looking pretty good overall, though, for CP3. Kind of up and down, though. Up and down. What else do we have here, chat? Thank you guys for leaving these in the chat for us. You guys always bring up some very good plays. We end up landing on some really solid ones. And it's going to be a little tougher tonight, I think, in terms of finding good value here on a lot of these player props. With those smaller slates, they're able to really just tune in those numbers, dial them in just right, and make things a little harder for us. Panther says, Gobert is out tonight. And Panthers likes Tyler Herro rebounds. So there you go. That could be one to look at. Tyler Herro rebounds. We talked about Tyler Herro a little bit. Points, assists, rebounds. If you could play that on whatever site you play on, check those out. But yeah, he's been getting it done across the board. Herro's been playing great basketball. Just a G and VA. What's happening? If Gobert is out, there should be some excess rebounds available for all. Yeah, we talked about Donovan Mitchell and Royce O'Neal both being on the injury report. So keep an eye out on that Utah Jazz team and their injury news. They might be looking to rest some of their veterans. Kevin says the Anthony Edwards boards, 5.5 burned him last night. He only had 3. Cole Anthony over 4.5 assists, and he had 4. Yeah, that was one that we really liked. We talked about Cole Anthony's assist, and we talked about Cole Anthony over 3s, and unfortunately did not get it done. But good morning to you, Kevin. Appreciate you joining the chat. B.7, Gobert ain't out, I think. They confused him with Rudy Gay. Okay. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, we need to get clarification on that injury news. Thank you to the 82 people who are spending a few minutes with me this morning. We talked about a lot of different plays so far. Looking like a little bit of a tougher night. That's just the vibe I'm getting so far. These smaller slates seem to be a little tougher in terms of player props. What do you guys think? Pharaoh says, good morning. Colin Sexton over 20.5 points. Made me some money. Good job with that call out there, Pharaoh. Colin Sexton was just not one that I was loving. I just didn't want anything to do with that. He'd been playing pretty bad basketball lately, but I'm glad it worked out for you. As in said, Sands, Gobert, hammer the Collins, Hunter, Capella boards. Yeah, I think John Collins and Clint Capella would probably be my two prime candidates in terms of taking overs on rebounds. I don't know about DeAndre Hunter because he's been a guy that more often than not at 3.5 rebounds, he's been one that we've been going under on. So I don't have him up on the board yet, but last time we talked about DeAndre Hunter, it was because we liked the under on his rebounds. So we're getting more reports that Gobert is out. I appreciate you breaking that news. Thanks, Sheriff, for dropping that in here. Jared says Kemba Walker was on the, or was the bum with points. Ooh, Kemba Walker points did not hit. I don't trust Kemba with scoring at all at the moment. J-Red, let's get it again. Yeah, J-Red hit big last night, guys. J-Red, member of the Patreon community, member of our Discord group, hit very big last night. I saw a lot of plays that we talked about from this stream in his 5-pick entry. I think it was a 5-pick entry, so he hit 10x on a big one. So congratulations, J-Red. Alan says Cole Anthony couldn't hit the threes, 2 of 11. Yeah, the opportunities were there, Alan. He barely got it done, though, if you took him at over 1.5. Kevin says, nailed that Doncic, Curry, Durant promo as well. Yeah, if you played around with that 10x is pretty sweet on a 3-pick power play. Wes, what's up? Yo, boss man. Yo, back to you. Thanks, Wes, for joining us this morning. Max says, won another 100 on a $20 power play. Cole Anthony hit the 3 for me with 40 seconds left to win. Yes, Cole Anthony got it done, man. He was kind of the hero of the night. He put on that Superman cape at the last minute and hit that big 3 to put a lot of people over. Nicholas says, good morning, bro. Nailed OG points last night. Boy, did we. I mean, it was hard not to like that OG Anunoby over 18.5 points without Scotty Barnes in the lineup. Him at 18.5 just seemed too low. The matchup was good, too, against Washington. So I'm glad that play worked out for you. Rich says, Cole, damn Anthony. Woo, came through last minute. Yes, he did. William, what's up? Good morning to you, William Brown. Bam rebounds today. Yeah, we talked about Bam's rebounds today at 10.5. A very rebound-friendly matchup here, surprisingly, against the Boston Celtics. So we are liking some Bam Adebayo over rebounds. Herro, are we riding the heat wave with Tyler Herro over on points? I think we are. I think you have to at this point, right? Tyler Herro's just been cooking. He's been cooking across the board. Points, assists, rebounds, doing it all. So I don't mind that whatsoever with Tyler Herro. Kyle Lowry over on assists. PJ Tucker over on boards. Let's look at Kyle Lowry over on assists because that's an interesting one. The one that I have not paid a whole lot of attention to. But at 7 assists, I mean, heck yeah. In his last 5 games, 9, just 5 there, but 8 and 9. Yeah, let's dig into it. Let's do a little more research on this Kyle Lowry prop and see where things are shaping up here. Of course, Boston at Miami is the matchup tonight. So Kyle Lowry against the Celtics. He is moved down from 7.5 assists down to 7 assists over on PrizePicks. So a little bit of value there opening up when you compare that prop to various sports books out there. But at 7.5 assists, still hold strong on that 4 out of 5 in his last 5 games, 80% hit rate. But even if we move that down, not a whole lot changes when we go from 7.5 to 7, but you could see a little more green across the different averages. 7.8 assists per game in his last 5. In his last 10, 7.9 assists per game. And then versus Boston, going back to probably, last season, looking at some last season games, 10 assists versus them. Now, at 7.5 assists, you could see why people, or PrizePicks, I should say, moved it from 7.5 down to 7. It's because people are betting the under here. Betting the under on 7.5 assists, a minus 144 to go under. And maybe it has to do with the Boston matchup here. They rank 12th in terms of assists allowed. So they are a top 12 team in terms of stopping the other team from dishing out dimes. So maybe that has something to do with it. Otherwise, maybe it's the projection sites, the number fires or the fantasy labs or wherever you get your player prop projections. Maybe they are liking the under on 7.5. People are seeing that and putting the money on the under. Nonetheless, though, 33.3 minutes per game, good amount of minutes. So things are looking pretty decent here for this Kyle Lowry prop. I think 7 assists, I'd have to lean toward the over based on the recent success that he's having. The matchup's not overly difficult, but let's look at the projections on Kyle Lowry and these assists. Maybe they are lining up on the under. Yeah, they got him at 6.8 assists over on Number Fire right now. So they have him up there close to 7, but definitely below 7.5. So I could see why people are probably putting their money on the under. They're looking at projection sites most likely. I don't know that they're doing the in-depth research that we're doing here live on YouTube. So I would probably lean toward the over, especially at 7 in assists, and maybe it ends up as a push, but that's okay. Thanks for putting that one on our radar, though, the Kyle Lowry assist. Appreciate that, Herro. What's up, Anthony? Leaving some flames in the chat. Appreciate that. Remy says NBA plus NFL should be a fun night. Yeah, we got NFL too, guys. Don't forget about that. Don't forget about football. I know we mostly talk basketball on these live streams, but we got football hanging out there tonight too. Got the Colts and Jets. Kind of an ugly game. Not an exciting matchup. Not Green Bay and Arizona, that's for sure. But Alan says thumbs up button. Yeah, the thumbs up button is lonely. Just hit it. Just smack that thumbs up if you haven't yet. Appreciate you reminding them, Alan. Thank you for the support. Ken says Josh Giddey over 11.5 points. Let's take a look at Joshua Giddey. He is at 11.5 over on PrizePicks this morning. We can pull him up right here for you. You can take a look at his game log. It's kind of been hit or miss, up or down. Back against Philly, drops 19, then just 7 against Golden State, 18 against LA, 10 against Golden State again, and then 15. So he struggles against Golden State in terms of going over 11.5 points, just 7 and 10. But tonight, he's not playing Golden State. He's playing the Lakers, if I remember correctly. So let's go find Giddey over on props.cash. We'll dive in a little bit deeper, take a closer look at this player prop, and see if going over or under makes the most sense here. So at 11.5 points, he's got a 3 for 5 hit rate, 60%. Of course, we talked about his struggles against Golden State. Those are the only 2 games in which he did not go over 11.5 points in his last 5. But overall, 13.8 points per game. So when he does go over, he goes over by a lot. 19, 18, and 15 respectively. Currently not seeing any movement on this number at 11.5. Kind of a deadlock here at minus 110 over, minus 110 under. So if we scroll down a little bit further, we can look at the matchup against the Lakers, which looks to be a soft one, a plus matchup overall. A lot of green here, a little bit of yellow. So points allowed, they rank 27th. Field goals allowed, they rank 27th. 3-pointers allowed, they rank 17th. And against opposing shooting guards, just 23rd overall. So yeah, I like this matchup here for Giddey. Let's look at the amount of minutes that he's been getting, 31.1 minutes per game. And the field goal attempts are pretty healthy too, 13, 10, 13, 11, and 15 overall, a 12.4 field goal attempt per game average. Looking pretty good here for Josh Giddey. And we actually do have a previous matchup against the Lakers where he dropped 18, so that's worth noting too. Sorry I missed that, but 18 points the last time he faced the Los Angeles Lakers. So he has gotten it done just a few nights ago against them, and maybe tonight he gets it done again. Let's get you a projection on this prop. We could take a look at Giddey here. Could be a little bit of value on a short slate, one where we don't have as many options. 11.9 points is his projection, putting him real close to 12, which would be a lean toward the over if you trust in these projections. I kind of would lean toward the over as well. I think based on the historical matchups that we have here, Giddey versus LA just a few games ago, he went well over 11.5. Plus, we got a projection of 11.9 here. I think that makes some sense. The matchup we know is very soft here for Josh Giddey. So if I was leaning any which way, it would be toward the over. Hopefully that helps you out. Thanks for dropping that one, by the way. Thank you for dropping that one. Josh dropping the dollar signs in chat. He made some money last night. Good for you, Josh. I appreciate it. Josh, another one of our community members. Shout out to you. Thanks for joining me on stream today. Appreciate that. I'm glad you guys won some money. Sheriff says Gobert is also out now due to a right heel injury, so that's good to know. I know because Gobert is on my fantasy team, and that's what it shows me. Okay, we got our own little Woj bomb right here from Sheriff. Thank you for dropping that in the chat. Asin says, Herro, I dig that Lowry assist play. Yeah, I think it's a good way to go too. Josh says, that promo last night was great. Thanks for the help, CJ. You're welcome, Josh. No problem. Glad we won some money together. Garrett says, if anyone does NFL, Hines over 11.5 rushing yards could be good. Okay, so that's one to look out for if you're playing some NFL tonight. Herro, loving the Giddey over on points. Yeah, we talked about that one. Definitely liking the Giddey now that we looked into it a little bit further. Jeremy Grant under on points. Another one dropped by Herro here. Let's look at Jeremy Grant. That is a name that we haven't talked a lot about on this stream. He likes the under on points. Okay, I guess I could get on board with that. He has a 21 point output here, 22 against Orlando. Otherwise, though, under, and under with 9, 14, and 11 respectively. So let's look a little closer at Jeremy Grant, Detroit, taking on the Philadelphia 76ers. I believe Jeremy Grant used to be a member of the 76ers, maybe a little bit of a revenge narrative. Am I right on that, chat? My memory serves me correct. He was part of the Sixers at one point. 19.5 points out on most sports books. So it's important to point out that on PrizePicks, he's at 18.5. So they're taking a little bit of the lower road here. So if you are liking the under on this prop, it's not so sweet on PrizePicks. Maybe it's sweeter for you somewhere else out there. But I want you to play on PrizePicks because I think it's a lot of fun. And obviously, I enjoyed the product. I enjoy it so much, I started making content back on January 1st, and now I'm at over 2,100 subscribers. That's how much I believed in PrizePicks, to give you a little bit of an idea. But anyway, yeah, at 18.5 points, the hit rate remains the same, 2 for 5, just 40%. So I still think the under is probably the better way to go. 15.4 points per game in the last 5. And at 19.5 points, the money's coming in more on the under than the over at minus 120. So we scroll down, we look at this matchup. Philadelphia is tough, y'all. Philly is tough. They do have some injuries or some guys that I think are supposed to miss. Double check, but Philly's defense this season, 7th overall in points allowed, 9th in field goals allowed, 4th in three-pointers allowed, and number 2 in defense, power forward defense, defending the opposing power forward, which is what Jeremy Grant plays, kind of that power forward, small forward position. So overall, a lot of red here. This is not a plus matchup for him. This would be a minus matchup for him, a tough or difficult matchup. Now, his minutes are doing something weird here recently. So 31.5, then they shoot up to 36, 35, but then you see a downward slope. 27 and just 23.9 in his last couple of games. So minutes overall, right around 31 in his last 5 games. So he's not getting a ton of run for whatever reason. Field goal attempts, though, you can see almost flat line here. Pretty consistent. 13, 14, 14, 15, 13 overall, right around 14 field goal attempts per game. So that kind of gives you an idea of what to expect from Jeremy Grant. His 3-point attempts, right around the 5 or 6 range, probably 5.4 on average in his last 5. Not shooting a high volume of threes. Does a pretty good job of getting to the free throw line in games where he's more aggressive and attacking the hoop. But overall, this is looking like a tough one here for Jeremy Grant. So I can respect the fact that PrizePicks put him up at 18.5 instead of 19.5. Now let's go ahead and look at the projection for him. They got him at 19.2 points according to NumberFire. So 19.2 puts him slightly over 18.5, guys. So I don't know. There's just a lot going on here with this prop. A lot of inconsistencies. The fact that he's not at 19.5. If he was 19.5, I'd definitely smack that under. But in this case, he's at 18.5. So not loving it as much on PrizePicks. Not loving that one so much. What else do we have here? Appreciate you dropping that one, Herro. Ken says, I'm also loving the Giddey over 5 assists. Okay, so if you don't want to take Giddey over points, maybe consider the assists. Sam says, joining late. Follow-up from yesterday. Took Cavs money line to root for the home team and Mobley over rebound. So it was a good day. Hey, good for you, Sam. I'm glad that worked out for you. He thought about taking the under for the game, but rooting for a low-scoring game in person would not have been exciting at all. Agree with you on that point. Corey says, hey, good morning. Hope everything is well. I was looking at Bam over rebounds. Keep up the good work. Yeah, we talked about Bam over rebounds. That one at 10.5 boards is looking pretty good. DFS Whispers in the house. What's good, CJ? What's good with you? Corey says, also on the Chris Paul assist. Yeah, Chris Paul assist at 10 right now. Dropping a lot of dimes lately. 14, 11, 10, and 18. Biggest thing for me in this game is, will it stay close? If this game turns into a blowout, which it should be, Phoenix against Houston, right? Then I would be a little worried that maybe Chris Paul doesn't get there. So we got to be careful with blowouts and taking overs on superstars, big-time players, and big-time props. Boston 617. I know we don't talk about fantasy points a whole lot, but can we look at Al Horford over 32 fantasy points? Yeah, we could look at it. I don't mind doing that for you. Let's take a look. Is he up on the PrizePicks board yet? Yes, he is. He's rocking his OKC jersey still. At 32 fantasy points, let's look at it, guys, because I think we've got a good little diamond in the rough if you play on PrizePicks. 47.5 fantasy points, 40.2, 53, 39, and 45. So not only is he going over 32 fantasy points, but he's smoking it. He's blowing it out of the water, and a lot of it has to do with those big double-digit rebound numbers that he's been putting up. This guy's been a double-double machine for a long time in his career, but this season especially, he has been getting it done with those fantasy points. So let's look at Al Horford. His projected fantasy points tonight, 32.5. So yeah, if you're leaning any way, the projections seem to think, and I would agree that you should be leaning toward the over on Al Horford and these 32 fantasy points. Thanks for dropping that one. That looks like a very solid way to play Al Horford tonight. Herro back at it again. Saddiq Bey over on points and Seth Curry over on points. Whew. I won't take both of those, but let's look at one of those. With Seth Curry, he's not up on the board, not seeing him, so we're going to take Saddiq Bey. How about that? I think that's fair. Saddiq Bey going back to 5 games ago against the Atlanta Hawks, 21-19, so those are 2 big overs. Comes really close against Orlando with just 13 points. 9 against Brooklyn, 4 against Milwaukee. So things have started to trend down game after game here from 21 all the way down to 4 points. Don't know what's happening with Bey, but it's not looking good here. Let's see if we can find a point prop for him on props.cash. They've got him at 13.5 as well, but these graphs make for a great visual representation. I mean, they look like stairs that are going downward. 21, 19, 13, 9, and 4. His average in those last 5 games, 13.2 points, guys. So he's putting in less than 13.5 points per game in his last 5. Now, currently at 13.5, surprisingly, minus 116 over, but we can't ignore this minus 106 on the under. This is not a home run hit for him to go over 13.5 points, and I think you can kind of see why with things on the downturn for him. Moving down here, the matchup again. I got to keep stressing it because Jeremy Grant, Saddiq Bey, this is a tough matchup. Philly's a tough team. 7th overall in points allowed, 9th overall in field goals allowed, 4th overall in three-pointers allowed, and 25th against small forward defense. So that's really the only highlight working for Saddiq Bey is the fact that they're not good at defending small forwards. So I would say that maybe that helps him, but maybe it helps Jeremy Grant. These guys are kind of interchangeable at the small forward, power forward position. Looking at his minutes, though, 32 minutes per game. So he's getting the minutes, but the points are just trending down. So no correlation with minutes and field goal attempts. Field goal attempts kind of just all over the place. The minutes are there. The field goal attempts are just, wishy-washy, up and down. 13.6 field goal attempts per game, and he's not shooting a very good percentage whatsoever in his last handful of games. Not a big-time three-point shooter. His three-point attempts are way down in his last 2 games, attempting just 4 threes versus the 8, 9, and 8 numbers from the 3 previous games. And not getting to the free throw line at a high clip. So let's get you a projection on this Saddiq Bey prop, and then we'll get you on to the next one. Bey's projected for 14 points, guys, so that puts him slightly over 13.5. So again, if you trust these projections, well, maybe you should go over. But I don't know that I always trust the projections. In this case, I don't know that I trust Saddiq Bey whatsoever based on his game log. So I don't know that I'm taking the over on that one. Garrett, with the dollar sign, he won some money. Cole Anthony almost messed me up. I'm glad it worked out. Markel winning some money. Tyson winning some money. SGA over on points. SGA over on points. We talked about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander earlier. 21.5 points. He has been scoring very well. Philadelphia 29, 30 against Golden State, 27 against LA, falls short against Golden State in that rematch, and then 28 against the Clippers. So yeah, 21.5 points seems a little bit light here. He's going against the Lakers tonight, where he dropped 27 against them in a previous game. So can he get it done again? I think maybe he can. Maybe this is a good way to play SGA, a better way to play SGA. Let's look at the point prop a little bit closer here, because at 21.5 on PrizePicks, they took the lower number here. He's at 22.5 on most of your sports books out there. Now, at 22.5, he's still hitting at an 80% clip, 4 for 5. If we move him down from 22.5 to 21.5, nothing really changes with his averages or numbers or anything like that. At 22.5, though, he is a minus 116 for the under. So you can kind of see PrizePicks already thinking ahead here, rounding this down from 22.5 down to 21.5. But overall, the averages are great. 25.8 points per game. That puts him over 4, almost 5 points per game higher than his number tonight at 21.5. You could see against the Lakers, we talked about, he dropped 27 points. And that was just a few games ago. So maybe he does it again tonight. The matchup against the Lakers, just like we mentioned with Giddey, not a very tough one. A lot of green here, a lot to like for this matchup for SGA. The minutes, definitely there, over 36 minutes per game. The field goal attempts, definitely there, over 18, almost 19 field goal attempts per game. Attempting almost 7 threes per game. So yeah, I mean, the volume is definitely there for this kid. He's getting plenty of minutes, plenty of run. Free throw attempts are kind of all over the place. Sometimes it looks like he gets to the line. Sometimes maybe he's playing less aggressive. But overall, I think this is a good way to go. Let's look at the projection for SGA here in points. They got him projected for 22 points, puts him over 21.5. So if you can get him at 21.5 like you can on PrizePicks, I think go for it. Take the over. If you get him at 22.5 on somewhere else, might be a little tougher. Sometimes that little 1 point difference makes all the difference in the world. Corey says he cashed, but Bradley Beal sold him on 1.5 points. Ooh, unfortunate for that. Herro says he made money, but Gary Trent Jr. ruined one of my parlays. He couldn't make one more bucket for me for his over on points. Yeah, sometimes those lines are pretty darn sharp, and it sounds like they were sharp on Gary Trent Jr. Corey says Dame sold me by getting exactly 8 assists. Hey, we talked about Damian Lillard under points yesterday at 25.5. He ended up going under again. That dude, there's something going on with him. There's something wrong. I don't know whatever's bothering him, but he's not scoring like he typically does. William says, $sign. Good for you, man. I appreciate it. KG Wood 713, Westbrook over points and Jimmy over fantasy points. I think I'll take you up on the Westbrook over points just to kind of keep it relevant for everybody, those who play on PrizePicks and those that don't. Westbrook is at 18.5 points, taking on his former team, the Oklahoma City Thunder. He dropped 20 on them back on October 27th in that previous matchup, but overall, over. 5 in a row where he's went over 18.5 points. So let's look at Russell Westbrook here. He has not been Westbrick, either that or he's getting a lot of volume. But yeah, 5 games in a row, guys, where he's went over his point prop. So you got to love that, including that previous matchup, as I mentioned, 20 against OKC. Right now, no line movement, minus 110 on the over, minus 110 on the under. But in his last 5, almost 24 points per game. Now, a lot of it is being pumped up here, is being inflated by this 33-point game against the San Antonio Spurs. So have to consider that. And you have to kind of consider the 27 against Houston, another one of Westbrook's former teams. So a couple of recent revenge games. OKC here, Houston here, and he's got OKC again tonight. Kind of interesting. Anyway, against Oklahoma City, this looks like a pretty good matchup. They rank 20th overall in points allowed. In terms of field goals allowed, 22nd, 29th in three-pointers allowed, which we don't expect a whole lot of threes out of Westbrook most nights. And then 17th in point guard defense. So not a tough matchup for Westbrook across the board. Minutes are pretty good, over 36 minutes per game, seeing plenty of time out on the court. He's also attempting plenty of shots in his last 5, almost 21 field goal attempts per game. Loving the way things are looking. Not a high volume three-point shooter most nights. Most nights he's going to be around 4. His average is 4.2. And free throw attempts kind of all over the place. Usually, though, he's getting about 4 free throw attempts per game. Easy for me to say. So we'll round this one off here with a projection for Westbrook's points. I got him at 17.5, guys. So that puts him 1 point under this 18.5 number. But in this case, this could be one where you fade the projections and you take the trends here. And the trends are saying he's been going over 18.5 points with great ease, with great regularity in his last 5 games. So, yeah, you might want to keep riding the heat wave here with Russell Westbrook. Maybe you play into a little bit of that narrative against his former team. What else do we have here? Tyler Herro rebounds look good. Yeah, we talked about Tyler Herro rebounds. Those are looking good. His points are looking good. Assists also another good look. Jeff says CJ making some Miami Heat propaganda. Spew that culture chatter. Hashtag 81-1. Whew, don't you wish? 81-1. My butt. They're not gonna go 81-1. Jeff says he likes Tyler Herro over fantasy points. Yeah, we talked about Tyler Herro being a good points, assists, and rebounds over contender. So if you like the points, assists, and rebounds, that makes up a large part of fantasy points. So it only is natural that Tyler Herro over fantasy points could be another good way to go. Jacob says, Jeff, you like the over on fantasy points more than assists? Jeff, yes, he does. Little dialogue back and forth. Love to see that. What else we got? Sheriff dropping the dollar sign says Cole Anthony saved me on one while Valanciunas tanked the other one. I didn't look at a whole lot of Joe Val last night. D Block, 2 guns up. Okay, D Block in the house. D Block, 2 guns up. I like that. I haven't heard D Block in a while, man. Shout out to D Block. OG messed me up by not going over 5.5 rebounds. Yeah, I think the move was definitely his points or his 3-point makes. I think they both ended up being overs. Zaddy Ant sold me on rebounds. He sold me too, brother. Sold me too. OG over on points. Remy won some money last night. Turner over rebounds and Mobley Allen over on rebounds. Good work. Good work. Kevin wants to look at Christian Wood rebounds. Let's see if Christian Wood's up on the board. Let's talk about some C. Wood. He's at 10.5 boards today. Been a little bit of an up and down so far for Christian Wood. If we go back to October 24th against Boston, 9 boards, 17, 7, 13, 6. So kind of all over the place. 3 covers and 2 where he did not cover, failed to cover. But let's look at it a little bit closer in terms of the matchup. Maybe there's something that we're missing here against Phoenix. I think a big one would be DeAndre Ayton's status because he is currently a game time decision. If he is out, if he sits, then maybe this becomes a better way to go, like in terms of the over on Christian Wood and these rebounds. At 10.5 boards, though, he's currently sitting at a minus 122 on the under. So the money's coming in on the under. You can kind of see why. He's got some duds in there. 9 against Boston, 7 against Utah. But both of those teams kind of have some good big guys like Al Horford, Robert Williams, obviously Rudy Gobert. So he had a tough time, maybe that's the reason. But overall, 12.4 rebounds per game in his last 5, being inflated mostly by the 17 and 16 in his game logs. If we get on here and look at the matchup against Phoenix, they're 12th in rebounds allowed, 11th in offensive rebounds allowed, and 15th in defensive rebounds allowed. So there you have it for Christian Wood. We'll pull up a projection on his rebound prop. And he's at 10.8. So slight lean on the 10.5, closer to 11, obviously, than 10. So they like the over on Christian Wood. Hopefully that helps you out. Kevin says, his name is pronounced Mikal Bridges. Well, tomato. Kevin, I'm sorry. I'll work on it. Hassan says, what do you think of Shai or Shai? Correct me on that one, Kevin. Help me out. You know the pronunciations. Shai or Shai? Do I like him over on fantasy points? I like him over on real life points. I'd probably go that way. Michael, I like Bam Adebayo under 2.5 assists plus 112 on FanDuel. That could be a good way to go, under on Bam's assists. Let's take a quick peek at Bam as I continue to work through the board. Yeah, Bam's not up on PrizePicks, unfortunately, so that sucks. But yeah, maybe Bam Adebayo under 2.5 assists could be a way to go. Markel says, I'm thinking about a 2 lock picks today and bet high. He's going to go big entry energy. Thank you to the 77 people watching the stream. If you haven't liked yet, do it now. Help me out. Help a brother out. Garrett says, what about Cade Cunningham under fantasy points? Ooh, Cade Cunningham. Not a very large sample size on Cade. Made his season debut not long ago, but so far 14.4 and 10.9. Yeah, I'm going to have to see more before I touch Cade Cunningham in any of his player props, but so far it looks like the under is the move on Cade. So we won't go too crazy on that one. Yeah, the under, Garrett. Kevin says SGA points for sure. SGA points. D. Bridges points. We talked about Mikal Bridges points I'll just call him Bridges. How about that? We'll just avoid any type of me slaughtering his name. Lowry over assists. We talked about that one too. Yep, that's another good one. DOMG, I like Wood over 10.5 boards. We just discussed that. We talked about Kyle Lowry's assists. Jalen Green over on 13.5 points. Jalen Green's been a good one. He's been pretty hot lately. Your fantasy points on Jalen Green, those worked out the other night if you took the over on the fantasy points. Jalen Green, though, might be starting to figure things out. 30, but then he goes down to 10, 13, and 7. Has 24 against the Lakers. So Phoenix is going to be a tough matchup for Jalen Green. Again, with these rookies, I'm just trying to, wait and see on most of them, to be honest with you. Let's look at Jalen Green, though. They got him projected at 14.6 points. So I guess the lean would definitely be toward the over if you trust the projections. I just don't know because the game logs aren't looking great for Jalen Green so far. And I know Phoenix is a tough matchup. What else we got here? Kevin says, now people want to put respect on Lowry. Yeah, pretty much, Kevin. That's the case. He's starting to earn the respect. But to start the season, no, we didn't respect Kyle Lowry. We were taking the unders and making money on him. So screw that guy. But he's getting it going now. So we got to put some respect on Kyle Lowry's name. Katie and Kyrie, $3 signs. All right, big money win. James says, what is your favorite player prop today? The one that's going to make me money, James. And it's hard to know which one that is. There are no such things as locks, but we talked about some good plays. Definitely hit that replay button. I can't remember them all. We talked about so much. Zach says, Jimmy Butler fantasy points. Yeah. Somebody messaged me earlier this morning. They DM'd me about Jimmy Butler's fantasy points. I think Jimmy Butler fantasy points could be a good way to go. He's only at 41 right now. And you guys can see 56, 56, 54, 51, and 50. He's been crushing 41 fantasy points. So that might be a little bit of a misprice on Jimmy Butler. Just to pull up a projection for you, he's currently at 45.8 on Number Fire. Take advantage of this, guys. This looks like a good one. 5 for 5 in covering 41 fantasy points, 45.8 projected fantasy points tonight. I like Jimmy Butler over fantasy points. If you play on PrizePicks, snatch it up. Anthony says PrizePicks getting tight in these props. Look, on these small slates, they can do that. It's like that. They are very, very active, we'll say. With less options, less things they have to tweak. Yeah, PrizePicks, they know what they're doing. Horford fantasy points is a steal. Yeah, I think we talked about Al Horford's fantasy points as well. That could definitely be a good way to go if you want to play some fantasy points props. 32 fantasy points, 47, 40, 53, 39, 45. So maybe you take Al Horford and you take Jimmy Butler over on fantasy points. And you lock him in a 2-pick power play to win 3 times your money on PrizePicks. I'm just saying it's looking like we're seeing some good value. And if you don't play on PrizePicks, go to prizepicks.com. Promo code Curry, 100% instant deposit match. Ethan says Kyle Lowry over on points. He's been playing better. We're putting more respect on Kyle Lowry's name. He's at 13.5 points today. I think in the past he's been around 14.5 points. So PrizePicks, they've got him at 13.5. But yeah, his last 2 games, 15 and 22. Maybe Kyle Lowry over on points at 13.5 could be a way to look. They got him projected at 14.2 tonight against the Boston Celtics. So we mentioned Kyle Lowry assist earlier. That one was looking pretty good, but you could also maybe go for some over on his points. Anthony says fantasy has some players where single props has less players. Yeah, they're kind of slow uploading those single stat player props for whatever reason. Angel says if you look at the SGP tool, Herro rebounds at 5 with Adebayo at 11 rebounds has a 66% hit rate. Yeah, that's a really handy tool. If you guys play same game parlays over on props.cash, there's an SGP tool here that allows you to select different players and you can kind of see what the hit rate is for these different player props, points, rebounds, assists, minutes. Not so much helpful for you if you're on PrizePicks. Maybe though, maybe it could help you out. But yeah, the SGP tool, very cool feature that they've added recently. What else we got? Says, I'm just getting back from the gym, starting from the beginning. Okay, cool. Hit that replay button. Definitely. You can always replay these live streams. Zaddy, Grant rebounds over. Jeremy Grant over rebounds. We talked about Jeremy Grant's points. His rebounds at 4.5. Yeah, I mean, not a high hit rate. I mean, 3 out of his last 5, but kind of see that in his last 2, he's gone under 4.5 rebounds, and he's facing a tough Philadelphia 76ers team. He did pull in 6 boards, though, against them in a previous matchup, so you do have that going for you if you're looking to take the over. Let's go ahead and look at a projection for the rebounds on Jeremy Grant. He's at 5 boards, so yeah. You know, you could go this way. If you don't want to play his points, I think his points seem more risky. I'd probably stay away from Jeremy Grant points. Yeah, Westbrook playing against OKC. We talked about that one. That could be a little good little revenge narrative. Anthony Davis rebounds over or under. We haven't talked any AD so far yet. 9.5 though. 17 against San Antonio, 8, 9, 13, and 9. So in his last game, which was against OKC, he had 8 in his last matchup against the Thunder, which is tonight's opponent. So he went under in his last game against OKC. Let's pull up a projection on Davis for you. They've got him at 9.1 rebounds, so they like the under. They think he's going to go under yet again against tonight's opponent, the Oklahoma City Thunder. So there you have it. Under maybe on Anthony Davis in that rebound prop. Sabonis burned me last night. Sorry about that, Katrina. I wish it would have worked out for you. Markel Capella over 11. John Collins over 9 with Gobert out. Yeah, I think that makes some sense. Clint Capella is at 11 boards. 16, 12, 12, 12. So he's got 4 games where he's went over 11 boards in his last 5. So 80% cover rate. John Collins at 9 boards, 12, 9, 12, and 12. So technically at 9 or more rebounds, he also is at an 80% hit rate in his last 5. So that could be definitely a way to go. You could go with either one of these guys. Let's go ahead and look at the matchup for both men. If Rudy Gobert's out, it changes the whole dynamic. Let's go ahead and take a look at it, though. Going to have to refresh here, it looks like, on props.cash. We'll sign back in. These props are always changing, so make sure that if you are using props.cash, that you have the most recent information. You can do that just by refreshing the page, because things are always changing in the prop market. So let's go to Clint Capella. Let's move him down, move him up rather, from 10.5 rebounds to 11. No, 11.5 rebounds to 11. There we go. Now you can see at 11 boards, he's covered in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 8 games. Gotta love that. That's a high hit rate. If you're getting him at 11.5 on another site, maybe you don't play on PrizePicks, still same hit rate. Same hit rate. So things are looking good. 7 out of 9. 6 out of 8, rather. 6 out of 8, but still a very good hit rate. At 11.5, he's currently a minus 118 to go under, but with Gobert out, guys, I'd be smashing the over on 11 boards and maybe even at 11.5, because these defensive matchups, these averages and stuff, you throw it out the window without Rudy Gobert in there. So I think both of those guys could make good overplays, both Collins and Capella. What else do we have here, chat? Appreciate everyone tuning in this morning. Bleeding into the afternoon if you're over here on the East Coast with me. I might take Jeremy Grant over on his 19.5 points. Over on 19.5 points? Okay. Detroit's at home with Philly on a back-to-back. They allowed LaVine and DeRozan over 25 each. Yeah, but do we really put Jeremy Grant in the same category as Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan? Totally different players. I think they play differently stylistically. I don't know that, talent-wise, Jeremy Grant's even in the same league with Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan. So just be careful with that one. I don't love it. Travis says, CJ Curry over under 75 likes. I got to take the over on 75 likes. There's 81 of you watching right now. If all of you just hit the thumbs up on this, then we're definitely over, right? I'm taking the over on 75 likes. We've been smashing. If you go look at my game logs, which are my videos, we've been going over 75 likes with pretty good consistency. We're going to do it again, doggone it. I have a feeling. Christopher Money says, Chris Paul, assists. How do they look? We touched on them briefly. They look good. I would go over. My only concern is blowout risk. Blowout risk with this game. With Phoenix, taking on Houston. Could get out of hand, but this is a revenge matchup. Don't forget, Chris Paul used to be a Houston Rocket at one point in time. Briefly, but him and Russell Westbrook were running things. Or was it Harden? No, it was Harden. Him and Harden were running things. That's what it was. He got traded for Westbrook. So yeah, the Chris Paul assists look good as long as the game stays close. Trevor says, who do you think will be the leader in rebounds tonight with Gobert out? Man, I think that both Capella and Collins could potentially be good overplays. And at the 11 and 9 numbers that they are over on PrizePicks, worst case maybe ends up being a push. Carson Wentz over 1.5, touchdowns? DSD is leaving them dollar signs. He must have won some money. Good for you, DSD. I'm glad we helped you cash. Torres says, I'm taking the over on Curry lines. He ain't talking about me. I have a feeling he's talking about Seth Curry, who is not currently up for any single stats from what I see. No Philadelphia 76ers up yet. So they must be waiting for Philadelphia 76ers news to come out. I think Tobias Harris was on like COVID protocol and I don't know. Jeremy Grant, 19.5 on underdog for points. Ooh, underdog. Well, I'd be careful with that. Trae Young over threes. Trae Young's been right around the 2 3-point makes per game number, and he's currently not up on PrizePicks. But yeah, he's been sitting right around 2 3-point makes per game. So not loving it. Russell Westbrook points. Maybe. Yeah, we talked Russ Westbrook points. He's gone over in 5 straight games, I believe, at 18.5. Yeah, 33, 20, 19, 20, and 27. So, yeah, we liked Russell Westbrook over points against Oklahoma City. He went over against Oklahoma City in a previous matchup with 20 points. So, definitely can get it done here in this matchup. What else? I hope green light for everyone. I do too. I hope for green lights as well. Katrina says, how do you feel about Capella rebounds? Yeah, I like Capella. I still think Capella's good. Whiteside's formidable. He's no Gobert in terms of rebounds, in my opinion, but I still think Capella and Collins could be an option. Don't sleep on Whiteside, though. That's a good point. With Gobert out, they've got Hassan Whiteside coming off of the bench, and this dude was a beast just like a couple years ago when he was in Miami. And we shouldn't sleep. We shouldn't sleep on him. Yo, CJ, what's up? Bino Cartel? I'm bad at this. Bad at names. Dollar signs with Stuber and CJ's help. No bums, only bad plays. Okay. I don't know what that means. No bums, only bad plays. Oh, okay, I got you. You're saying the players that let you down weren't bums. Well, they can be bums for one night, right? If they don't come through for us. Capella rebounds. Thoughts? Yeah, we like Capella rebounds, I think, but don't sleep on Hassan Whiteside. Jalen Green over on points. I'm not loving the Jalen Green or Cade Cunningham. Like, Green balled out. I would probably like Jalen Green's fantasy points. He crushed his fantasy point prop the other night. I think I would rather do that than his real life points. 26.9, 25, 45. I mean, so it's just a mixed bag so far for Jalen Green. I'd just be careful overall with these rooks. Remy says Trae Young under 24.5 points. He doesn't cover against good defenses. Yeah, against good defenses, Trae Young could definitely struggle. That's why they've got him at 23.5 over on PrizePicks. So they've bumped him down from 24.5 down to 23.5, but he has covered this in just 2 games. So 3 unders versus 2 overs. Trae Young under points. Yeah, that could be a move. Let's take a look and see what he's projected at. 21.2. So a difference of 2 or more points versus Utah. No Rudy Gobert, but I don't know that impacts Trae Young a whole lot unless he's trying to take it to the basket. Still, Hassan Whiteside's in there, guys. So yeah, maybe the under on Trae Young is a good look. I don't mind that. We're going to wrap things up here, though, shortly. We've got about 5 more minutes. So if you have any last-minute picks or questions, we're going into about 90 minutes on stream, which is crazy, crazy long. Corey says LeBron rebounds or LeBron assists. Well, we could look at both LeBron rebounds and LeBron assists for you. LeBron's currently at 6 boards. If you see him across 5 games here, he's gone for 6 or more rebounds in just 2 games. Do I ever feel comfortable taking unders on LeBron James? Not really. Not really. He's projected for 7 boards tonight, so the projections like him to go over. Of course, this is a rematch here against OKC tonight. I don't know why they don't have the OKC game log up here for LeBron. Let me pull him up on props.cash real quick. 6.5 boards. Yeah. I thought this was a rematch game. LA versus... Am I like missing something? Aren't they playing OKC? I don't know. Maybe I'm lost. I'm not seeing the OKC game in the game log. I'm obviously confused and disoriented. But anyway, yeah, just covering in 1 out of his last 5 at 6.5 boards. I thought they played OKC the other night. I could be totally crazy now. 6 or 7 rebounds in just 2 games so far out of his last 5. So I'd be careful with LeBron. There's a reason why they bumped him down to 6. He hasn't been covering this prop a whole lot. Holmes with the dollar signs. Taylor with the dollar signs. Glad some of you guys won some money out there. What else do we have here? LeBron assists. Yeah, you did mention LeBron assists. Let's look at those real quick. He's at 7. So LeBron's props are already being like rounded up, rounded down on PrizePicks. But at 7 assists on PrizePicks, he's covered in 3 out of 5 games, averaging 7.4 assists per game. In terms of this matchup, the Oklahoma City Thunder are giving up 25 or the 25th most assists per game. So there you go. Katrina says, new subscriber. Any love on the over on rushing yards for Jonathan Taylor tonight? Yeah, I think I saw some people taking the over on Jonathan Taylor. Not sure what his number is on PrizePicks. We could look at it real quick. Not really, didn't really plan on talking NFL, but yeah, 3 out of 5 games, he's gone over 80.5 rushing yards. Not going to get too far in the weeds on any NFL, but yeah, maybe some John Taylor over rushing yards. Thoughts on Jaylen Brown over 18.5 points? Let's look at Jaylen Brown, man, because that dude's been balling. He's not up on the board right now on PrizePicks, but let's talk about him anyway, because I'm sure he will be on the board at some point tonight. Boston taking on Miami, the Miami Heat. This is a big-time matchup. Jaylen Brown over 18.5 points. Where are you getting him at 18.5 points on? That's what I want to know, because I want to go to that site and play that way. 23.5 is where I'm seeing him here on props.cash. If you're getting him at 18.5 points somewhere, take the over. Dude's averaging 26.6 in his last 5. Jaylen Brown at 18.5 points is a steal. I don't know where you're getting that from, but yeah. Oh, Rich says, Jimmy Butler just went to 42 fantasy points. That means people are watching the stream and they're probably putting the money in on Jimmy Butler over. And the lines will change in that case. Peyton, Adebayo over on rebounds should hit. Yeah, we talked about Adebayo at 10.5 rebounds. He needs 11 boards to go over. I don't mind that whatsoever. Anthony Davis over on rebounds sounds like a lock to me. Okay, Peyton. Okay. Well, I think that's going to do it, guys. We've been here. We've been at it for almost an hour and a half, another long day. More and more of you joining these live streams. I try to get to as many questions as possible. I can't get to them all, unfortunately. One thing that you could do in the future, though, is that if you have questions that you really, really want answered, consider using a super chat. Super chat kind of gets my attention, and it's a way for you to give back if I'm providing any value whatsoever. Super chat's probably your best way to go to make sure your question gets answered. But I appreciate you guys tuning in. Once again, it's always a blessing, always an honor to be able to get on here on stream, help you guys out, give back to the player prop, the DFS community in this way. I hope you guys appreciate it. Let me know that you do by leaving a like, sharing this video, making sure you're subscribed. There's half of you out there that aren't subscribed that are going to watch this. Let's try and get you on the subscriber list instead of the ones that aren't subscribed. I would appreciate you you coming over to the good guys side. But my name's CJ. Good luck tonight if you're playing over on PrizePicks or wherever you play your favorite fantasy props. We'll catch you in the next one, guys. Peace out.